Shalawam Israel is Melanin Wisdom here. It's a beautiful day out. I'm actually driving right now. Went to go pick up two Apocryphas from Barnes and Nobles. Anyhow, I wanted to come and update you all on this COVID-19 virus. So, I'm first and foremost, I'm going to start off by saying 2.5 months ago, I requested the Passover off and also the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So I requested time off work ahead of time. And during the time when I requested it off, the virus was only in Wuhan. It hadn't even hit the US yet. So, as we know, the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread just ended. The day that I was supposed to return, wait, let me rewind. So, today is Thursday, April 16th. On Saturday, the Saturday that just passed, y'all bear with me with the dates, but I can't track the dates right now. But the Saturday that just passed, the Sabbath, so as it was ending, I had received a call from one of the supervisors at my job. And basically, she just started rambling, like reading a paper. And I'm like, what is you talking about? And she's like, well, our facility tested, we have a positive test for a COVID-19 patient here at the facility. And I was like, what? Really? Okay. I said, okay, well, who was the resident? And like, she didn't want to give me any of that information. And I was really ticked off by it. Like, I told her, like, we come and risk our lives every single day to take care of these people, and now you got a positive COVID in the building, and you don't want to tell us who it is to even let us know if we worked with that resident. So anyhow, she just kept telling me, I'm pretty sure you haven't worked with him. I'm pretty sure you haven't worked with him. I know you haven't worked with him. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I was just like, thanks for the call, hung up. Probably about 11:30 that night, I called to the facility and I was like, you know what, I'm calling off for tomorrow. I was supposed to have been to work Sunday day shift that next day. It's like, I'm calling off. And I was like, why? And I was like, until y'all get it together and you let me know that we have the proper PPE to protect myself from this virus and that y'all got it all in order, I'm not coming up in there, because I know how the facility is, so I got enough common sense and wisdom to know that, I know they ain't got it together. So she's like, well, you're gonna have to speak with, I was like, it's okay, I'm gonna talk to the administrator and let the administrator know what's going on. And she's like, well, hold on, she's here in the building, I could transfer you. So at this point, I'm just like, that's a little fishy. What the administrator doing? And it was already fishy that it was a supervisor answering the phone. When I called, I was expecting a nurse to answer. No nurse answered. So she told me the administrator was in the building. Oh, it's hot. Had to let this window down. I was just like, I raised the eyebrow, like, something up. Why is the administrator at the building 11:30 o'clock or 11:30 at night? So she gets on the phone and like, they tried to like shun me for like not coming in, like, you can't call off and you have a duty to, and basically they just trying to like throw dirt at me, basically, because I didn't want to come in, because I was like, no, like, since we know it's a positive case in the building, mind you, which I just haven't been updating y'all on what's been going on at my job the last 4 to 5 weeks. But me and the administrator been going, the administrator and a director of nursing, we literally have been going back and forth. Because I've been requesting PPE, protective equipment, so I could feel protected while I'm working. Because they have me on a unit where all the new admissions come straight from the hospital. So they automatically go on a 14-day quarantine. But guess what? I got to monitor them. I got to go in. And they don't want to give me no equipment to do this, to do my job. So I didn't, I kept saying something about it. Like, no, y'all need to give it to me. Y'all need to give me with the proper equipment I need to do my job and protect myself. And out of the mouth of the administrator, no exaggeration, she told me no at least 20 times. No, we're not. No, we're not. So skip all that. Back to when I asked her about the positive COVID case at the facility. I said, so you gonna give us N95 masks now, right? And she's like, well, no. I said, what do you mean no? She's like, well, that person is being isolated, so there's no need for an N95 mask. And I was like, y'all must be tripping. I said, that's kind of dirty that we come in and we risk our lives and y'all still don't want to get us an N95 mask and a person that tested positive. I said, what about the people that we don't know of? What about the people that are positive that's just not exhibiting signs or that we know of? Because y'all haven't tested anybody in the building. Y'all just won't test for some reason. So she's like, well, no, we need to hold on to that equipment so when we do have an outbreak. I said, well, it's okay. You could take this call off because I won't be coming in tomorrow. And she was like, well, if you don't come in tomorrow, we'll have to discuss whether or not you still have a job. And I was like, don't threaten me and don't threaten my livelihood. You let me know now because I'm not worried. God got me. Believe that. So, long story short, I called off. It is what it is. And they end up, approving the call off. Mind you, I worked 5 days straight. So, that next day, I calls back in because I see, well, no, not the next day. I was still on vacation. So I didn't have to be back to work until Wednesday. Today's Thursday. So yesterday I was supposed to return back to work from vacation. And I calls in on Wednesday because I was paying attention to my notifications that was coming through on my phone. So we have an app that's set up to allow you to receive notifications or messages coming straight from the director or the scheduler. And I noticed that they took me off the schedule for Wednesday. I was supposed to work Wednesday. I'm sorry, I told you I was supposed to return to work on Thursday. It's Wednesday. So I seen request approve or request off approve, and I was like, I didn't request this day off. What's going on? Something is weird. So I call in. Administrator don't answer. Call the DON don't answer. Call the scheduler don't answer. I'm like, what is really going on? So I'm blowing their phones out because I'm like, is they like on the slide trying to fire me? That's what I'm thinking because I didn't request it off, but yet it's saying I'm off. So I finally gets through. The administrator finally pick up the phone, and she picks the phone up so hostile. And I'm like, what is the problem? She's like, well, you've been off work all these days, and you this and you that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was on vacation, and if your staff will communicate with you better, you would know that I was on vacation. She didn't want to hear that. She was angry. And I was just like, what is wrong with her? Like, something is not adding up. I said, what is the problem? I said, I'm supposed to work tomorrow. Why did y'all take me off the schedule? And she was like, do you want to work? And I was like, what do you mean, do I want to work? I'm scheduled to work. She's like, answer the question, do you want to work? And I was like, clearly I want to work. I did not quit my job. I called off on Sunday, but I did not quit my job. So what is really going on? So she said some smart stuff. I couldn't really even understand what she was saying. And then she hung up on me. Yes. Where's professionalism now? She hung up on me. And I called back. She didn't answer. So I called the director of nursing. She didn't answer. So I sent a message to the scheduler saying, what is really going on? Because somebody told me what's going on. Y'all got me off the schedule for tomorrow and I didn't request it off. Can somebody please call me back and tell me what's going on? So at this point, I'm pulling up in front of my house. I'm getting ready to go in the house. And you know how you butt down somebody or pocket down somebody? That's what happened. And it ended up calling the DON. And as soon as I noticed it, I just hung up, like, whatever, it is what it is, I'm over it, you know. And she calls back, and I'm like, well, what is going on? Why did Ann just hang up on me like that? Why did the administrator hang up on me like that? And she's like, we are just really under stress right now. Emotions are flying high, so please do not take anything personal right now. At this point, I have no idea what's going on. The only thing I know is one person tested positive in the building, and I was notified about that on Saturday, so I'm confused why y'all so stressed, and you know why they so stressed. So at this point, I still don't know what's going on. She's just like, you know, we're just really stressed. We've been here for 48 hours or whatever, however long they have been there. They have been there for a while. And she's like, one person died from the virus. And then I'm just like, whoa, nobody told me that, you know. The only thing I knew is it was one positive case. So that was a red flag. That raised a red flag with me. So I get off the phone with her, and something had told me it must have been the Holy Spirit told me to look up my facility and just see what's going on, see the updates or whatever, because I don't watch the news. I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching the coronavirus updates and stuff, because really it's just, I don't need to be focused on that. My focus needs to be on the Most High Yahweh and His Word and strengthening my faith. That's what my focus is on. So I stopped listening to the news, because really the news is just oppressing, it's depressing, and I just didn't want to hear it. Anyhow, so I look online and I see long-term care facility, 29 residents test positive for the COVID-19 virus. 29. I'm in total shock. I'm like, what? I know this is not my facility. And then so I keep reading, I see some of my residents' name in the paper. And I was just like, oh my, why would they not tell me this? So now they got me on the schedule to return back to work that very next day, and nobody told me that my building tested 29 residents tested positive for the COVID-19. And counting. Staff was tested. There's a lot of people tested, and they still getting results back. But at that moment, 29 had tested positive. Mind you, the director of nursing ready to let me return back to work, put me on the schedule to come back to work. And had I not listened to the Holy Spirit and was obedient and just called in to find out what's going on with the schedule and look up online, I would have never known. They would have allowed me to walk into like a ground zero outbreak building with all these damn cases, right? With no gear though. So I know this is going kind of long, and I tried to shorten it up the best way I could, but I just really need y'all to know certain details about this. So I tell my husband, I let him know, and he was like, what? Did she tell you that? And I was like, she didn't tell me anything. As far as I know, it was just one person that tested positive, but they sent them out to the hospital, that they wasn't even in the building no more. That was the last story I had got before I did the research myself to find out that that was a big lie. So at this point, I'm just like, I'm just shocked, because I'm just like, really? Wow, you know. And all this time I've been going back and forth with the administrator, the DON, asking them, pleading my case, a good case on top of that, to please give me protective equipment to work with these residents. And they kept denying me, telling me no. So with all this being said, the Most High will cover His children. He will keep you in the mighty palm of His hand if you keep His law, statutes, and commandments. I had no idea when I requested this time off of work 2.5 months ago, that during this time I was off work is when the outbreak took place. I wasn't even in the building. I had no idea what was going on. I was on vacation. Tell me that's not the Most High. That's the Most High. He allowed me to Like, he allowed me to see. He got me. He got me and my family, man. Like, that's just a testimony I wanted to share with you all, that it don't matter what's going on or what the devil have planned for you, because the Most High can come in and intervene and cancel all that out. What he says will go. So I'm just grateful for Yahweh, and I'm grateful for the covering that he have on my family, and for keeping me from that, keeping me from that judgment, keeping me from that plague, keeping me from even being in a building at the time during the outbreak. I wasn't even in the building. I was on vacation, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, keeping the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I was at home in the Most High perfect will, exactly where I was supposed to have been. So I had to share this with you all to let y'all know Yahweh is real. He is real, and he hear your prayers, and he can hear what you're saying to him. Like, his ears is no longer shut to us. At first, he couldn't hear us because of the sin. He couldn't hear us because of the curse, the 400-year curse. He couldn't hear us. But that curse is up, and the Most High can hear and see everything that we are doing right now. So it's very important to repent and get your life right, and make sure you start living by the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High commanded us to do so. And one last thing I want to share, because I end up getting in contact with a couple of my colleagues to just get an inside scoop on what's going on in the facility. And come to find out, the hall that I worked on, not one person tested positive for the virus. Not one person tested positive for the virus that was on my hall. But the nurse that I worked next to daily, she didn't like me. She was very evil. And on top of that, she Israel. And I would try to tell her the truth about the Most High, and she rejected it. She didn't want to hear it. Instead, she tried to mock me. And come to find out, her whole hall, every resident on her hall tested positive for the virus. You tell me the Most High won't keep his children. That's all I had to say, Israel. With that being said, I'm blessed. Me and my family are blessed. We are healthy. We are happy. And I know that we are in a perfect will of Yahweh. And I'm content. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Give people some encouragement. Let them know that Yahweh is real. He is real. He is out here covering his children each and every day. Stay prayed up, Israel. Shalom.